Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is part two of the paper discussion which I was doing official board model paper of second PUC. We have done with 1 markers and 2 markers, and these are the 3 markers, guys. And you take any subject, physics, chemistry, math, bio, computer science, 3 markers are tougher than the 5 markers. You need to be thorough with the entire chapter, right? And you get 14 with 10 questions you're supposed to answer out of 14, so obviously 30 marks in this part C, right? So let us start, guys. It's a question based on relations and functions. Show that the relation R defined in the set of A of set capital A of all triangles. Okay, this should be the relation R equal to T1 comma T2, so that T1 is similar to T2 is an equivalence relation. Right, now let me take like this: reflexivity. Board exam you need to write all, guys. Your steps should be correct. So reflexivity, every triangle will be similar to itself, right? It is given in the question, set A of all triangles. So every triangle will be similar to itself. Right, now let me take like this: let T be any arbitrary. Let T be any arbitrary as in not fixed. Let T be any arbitrary triangle. Let T be any arbitrary triangle in A, because capital A is a set of all triangles. Okay, now every triangle is similar to itself. T similar to T, okay, implies that T comma T belongs to capital R. I repeat, every triangle is similar to itself. So T similar to T implies that T comma T belongs to R. So this means that R is reflexive. Okay, R is reflexive. Symmetry A comma B belongs to R should imply that B comma A belongs to R. Right, now if I take suppose symmetry, let T1 comma T2 belongs to capital A, okay, such that T1 T2 belongs to capital A, such that T1 comma T2 belongs to relation. If I take this in a bracket, ordered pair A comma B belongs to relation. Okay, then T1 comma T2 belongs to capital R, okay, implies that T1 is similar to T2. If T1 is similar to T2, obviously T2 is similar to T1. Okay, so this implies that T2 comma T1 belongs to capital R. Therefore R is symmetric. Right, for transitivity unit 3. So transitivity, so I'm going to take like this: let T1 comma T2 comma T3 belongs to capital A, because capital A is a set of all triangles. Okay, such that T1 comma T2 belongs to capital R, okay, and T2 comma T3 belongs to capital R. Okay, then T1 comma T2 belongs to capital R, okay, and T2 comma T3 belongs to capital R. Okay, this implies that T1 is similar to T2. T1 is similar to T2 and T2 is similar to T3. T1 similar to T2 and T2 similar to T3 implies that T1 is similar to T3. This is same as T1 comma T3 belongs to capital R. So it is R is transitive. So R is reflexive, symmetric and transitive, hence it's an equivalence relation. Therefore R is reflexive, comma symmetric, okay, and transitive, and hence it's an equivalence relation. Hence it is an equivalence relation. Hence it's an equivalence relation. So this was a question on relations and functions. Same even in finals, you will get a 3 marker First question will be on relations and functions only. In fact, you get one relation because this time 5 markers they have given a function 1 to 1 and 1 to 2. So 3 marker will be a relation question only. Okay, question number 26. For matrix A is equal to 1, 5, 6, 7, you need to prove that A plus A transpose is symmetric and A minus A transpose is skew symmetric. Subdivision 1, let me find out first A plus A transpose. Matrix A is equal to 1, 5, 6, 7. A transpose will be equal to, okay, first row will become first column, second row will become second column. If I add this will be equal to 2, okay, 11, even this is 11 and 14. I take this as matrix P. Alright, matrix which is equal to own transpose is symmetric. So I've taken P is equal to matrix 2, 11, 11 and 14. Okay, now what is P transpose? P dash is equal to P dash is equal to 2, 11, 11 and 14. Okay, so that is same as P. So P is equal to P dash. Therefore, P is equal to A plus A transpose. P is equal to A plus A transpose is symmetric. Is a symmetric matrix. You understand, guys? So I proved that matrix which is equal to own transpose is symmetric. Okay, now if I want to prove this skew symmetric, subdivision 2, I'm supposed to prove that A minus A dash is skew symmetric. A minus A transpose, okay, will be equal to, A will be equal to matrix 1, 5, 6, 7. Okay, A transpose will be equal to, first row becomes first column, second row becomes the second column. So if you subtract this will be equal to 0, minus 1, okay, 0, this will be minus 1, plus 1 and 0. I'm going to take this as Q. Okay, now Q is equal to matrix 0, minus 1, 1 and 0. Matrix which is equal to negative of its own transpose is Q symmetric. So what is Q transpose? Q transpose will be equal to first row becomes first column, second row becomes second column. Okay. Now this is equal to, I multiply minus here, so this will be equal to 0, minus 1, 1 and 0. You understand? I just write minus of minus or change the sign. Take minus sign outside. Sign will change. So this will be equal to minus Q. Right. So Q dash is equal to minus Q. Therefore Q is equal to A minus A dash. A minus A dash is Q symmetric. So this is Q symmetric. Alright guys, let's move to the next question. Okay, it's a question on parametric differentiation. Dx by dt is equal to, if I differentiate I get 480, dy by dt is equal to t power 4 is 4tq, so this is 4atq. Okay, now dy by dx is equal to dy by dt upon dx by dt. Okay, dy by dt is equal to 4atq. Dx by dt is equal to 480. So this will cancel. You will get this as t square. Alright, sometimes they'll ask you to prove that dy by dx is equal to t square. Okay, question number 28. It's a question on logarithmic differentiation. So if I look into the paper analysis now, I'm getting 3 marker 2 questions on differentiation. You get 3 marker 2 questions on differentiation, 3 marker 2 questions on vectors. So never skip vectors as well. I'm going to take log on both these sides. You get log of x to the power of y is equal to log of y power x. Okay, when you take log, it is understood this is to the base c. Log m power n is n log m. You get this as y into log x. Okay, is equal to x into log y. If I differentiate with respect to x now, okay, I'm going to use product rule. First differentiation of second, okay, plus second differentiation of first, that is dy by dx, is equal to, first function is x, differentiation of log y is 1 by y into dy by dx. First derivative of second, this will be equal to plus second derivative of first. Let's do the grouping. I'll shift this dy by dx on the left side, and this y upon x I'll shift on the right side. So this is log x, okay, dy by dx minus x upon y dy by dx is equal to log y, okay, and then this is minus y upon x. I'm going to take dy by dx common. Okay, so if I take dy by dx common, so this becomes log x, okay, log x minus x upon y is equal to log y minus y upon x. Okay, now dy by dx, I take LCM as x, y and cross multiply. This will be y log x minus x is equal to, take LCM x and cross multiply, you get x log y minus y. Now if you cross multiply, dy by dx is equal to y into a bracket, you get x log y minus y upon x into y log x minus x. Okay, this is dy by dx, guys. Right, now let's move to the next question. Find the intervals in which the following function is strictly increasing and strictly decreasing. Okay, first derivative f dash of x is equal to 2x minus 4. This is f dash of x. Okay, subdivision A, f is strictly increasing, f dash of x is strictly greater than 0. Subdivision B, strictly decreasing, f dash of x is strictly less than 0. So I get 2x minus 4 should be positive, and 2x minus 4 is negative, less than 0, strictly less than 0. So 2x is greater than 4, x is greater than 2. So x belongs to open interval 2 comma infinity. So it is strictly increasing in open interval 2 and infinity. 2x is less than 4, x is less than 2. Now x belongs to minus infinity comma 2. That's it, guys, simple question. Okay, question number 30. So again, indefinite to two questions. You get if you get one question in the indefinite, one from definite, you stand, and then most cases 90% you get indefinite integral only two questions. Otherwise you get a definite, you get a 3 marker where you change the limit. Okay, substitute whenever you change the variable, even the limits gets changed, because limit of a sum is anyways not in syllabus. So if I separate them, so this is sine cube x upon sine square cos square, sine cube x upon sine square cos square, plus integration of cos cube x, okay, upon sine square cos square, sine square x cos square x dx. Now a sine square will cancel with the cube, cos square will cancel with the cube. So this becomes integration of sine x. Cos square x can be written as cos x into cos x. Okay, and then integration of numerator will be equal to cos x upon sine square x can be written as sin x into sin x. Okay, 1 by sine is sine by cos, tan 1 by cos is sec. So this becomes sec x into tan x. Sec x into tan x dx, and then plus integration of 1 by sine is cosec. We will get this as cosec x into cot x. Okay, integration of sec x tan x will be equal to sec x. Integration of cosec x cot x is minus cosec x plus c. That's the answer, guys. Right, now either you get a by parts question like integration of sin inverse, x tan inverse, tan inverse, x into sin inverse. All these important questions are there, right? Integration of x tan inverse. Okay, integral x cos inverse, integral tan inverse, x tan inverse. Okay, or you get only integration of tan inverse, or integration of x into sin inverse, upon root of 1 minus x square, okay, or integral x cos inverse upon root of 1 minus x square. All these are 3 markers. Okay, now if I want to do this question, guys, this is of the form e power x, I'll keep as it is. Even this is an important concept. X minus 3 can be written as x minus 1 minus 2. Okay, upon this will be x minus 1 the whole cube, and then this is dx. Okay, integration of e power x into a bracket. I can write this as x minus 1 upon x minus 1 the whole cube. Okay, minus 2 upon x minus 1 the whole cube dx. Whole cube, close the bracket, and then this is dx. This x minus 1 will cancel with cube, you get a square. So this is e power x into 1 upon x minus 1 the whole square. Okay, minus 2 upon x minus 1 the whole cube dx. Whole cube and then dx. So this is of the form e power x into f of x plus f dash of x. E power x into f of x plus f dash of x dx. Okay, so that's equal to e power x into f of x plus c. So this is e power x 1 by x minus 1 the whole square. Okay, and then plus c. That's the answer, guys. Question number 32. Alright, now you get a question on partial fractions. 1 divided by, I repeat myself, guys, limit of a sum is deleted, right? So that's why they might have increased one more indefinite question. Okay, so if I use partial fractions, 1 upon x minus 1 into x plus 2 should be written as a divided by x plus 1, okay, and then b divided by x plus 2. I am going to multiply by x plus 1 into x plus 2. So you get 1 is equal to a into a bracket, you get x plus 2 plus b into a bracket, you get x plus 1. Okay, let's call this as equation 1 and let's call this as equation 2. I'm going to put x plus 1 is equal to 0. Okay, that is x is equal to minus 1. Next I'll put x plus 2 is equal to 0. That is, you get x is equal to minus 2. Okay, we'll substitute x is equal to minus 1 in equation 2. Even here, substitute in equation 2. So this equation 2 becomes 1 is equal to a into minus 1 plus 2, okay, plus 0, because minus 1 plus 1 will be 0. You will get a equal to 1. Here if I put minus 2, so this will be 0 plus b into minus 1. So b is equal to minus 1. So if I substitute back in equation 1 becomes 1 upon x plus 1, okay, into x plus 2. Let me do it here, guys. So if I substitute in equation 1 becomes 1 upon x plus 1 into x plus 2, okay, is equal to, the value of a will be equal to 1. So 1 upon x plus 1, value of b is minus 1 upon x plus 2. Okay, so this is integration of 1 upon x plus 1 minus 1 upon x plus 2. Board exam, you write all the steps which I have written on the right side. Entrance, you directly write this, no problem. But board exam, you need to write all the steps. X plus 2, close the bracket, okay, and then this is dx. Integration of 1 by x is log x, okay, and integration of 1 by x plus 2 will be equal to log of x plus 2. Right, plus c. If you want, you stop here, guys. Otherwise, log m minus log n is log m by n. You get log of x plus 1 upon x plus 2, okay, plus c. Nothing wrong if you stop here itself. Okay, now let's move to the next question. Find the area of the region bounded by the parabola x square is equal to 4y, y equal to 2, y equal to 4, y axis only in the first quadrant. So sketching the graph is compulsory in application of integral. So x square is equal to 4y is an upward parabola. Okay, it's an upward parabola. Y equal to 2 and y equal to 4. Okay, only in the first quadrant. So this area I am supposed to find out. So area is equal to integration of y equal to a to y equal to b. Y is equal to a to y equal to b, and then this is f of y dy. So this becomes capital A is equal to integration of lower limit is 2 and upper limit is 4. Okay, and now I make x a function of y. So x is equal to root of 4y. X is equal to 2 into root y. So this is 2 into y to the power of half and dy. This is of the form x is equal to f of y. Okay, now 2 is a constant. Integration of y power half is y power 3 by 2 upon y to the power of 3 by y power 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2 between the limits 2 to 4. So this is 4 upon 3. Upper limit is 4 to the power of 3 by 2. Lower limit is 2 to the power of 3 by 2. Okay, so this is 4 upon 3. 4 power 3 by 2 is 8. So that is 2 square power 3 by 2. Minus 2 into 2 power half. So this will cancel. Okay, 2 will cancel with 2. So 4 upon 3. Okay, and then 8 minus 2 root 2. 4 it's 32. 32 minus 8 root 2 whole divided by 3 square units. Alright guys, let's move to the next question. dy by dx is e to the power of x plus y. Okay, so directly you can separate the variables. dy by dx is equal to e power x plus y can be written as e power x into e power y. Is it not? Now I can write this as dy upon e to the power of y is equal to e power x into dx. If I separate the variables, e power minus y dy is equal to e to the power of x dx. So variables has been separated. Now integrate e to the power of minus y dy is equal to integration of e power x dx. Okay, plus constant c. So this becomes e to the power of minus y divided by minus 1 e power x upon x. E power integration of e power x is e power x only, no? And then this is plus c. Right, that's the answer guys. Okay, even this is a miscellaneous workload example, standard question of NCERT. Okay, A, B, C are 3 vectors such that mod A, mod B, mod C is given, and each vector is perpendicular to sum of the other two. A is perpendicular to B plus C, B is perpendicular to C plus A, okay, and C is perpendicular to A plus B. C is perpendicular to A plus B. So this means that A dot with B plus C is 0. Okay, B dot with C plus A is 0. C plus A is 0 and C dot with A plus B is 0. We call equation 1, call equation 2, call equation 3. If I add all three equations, add equations 1, 2 and 3. Okay, if I add three equations, this will be equal to A dot with A dot B plus A dot C. Okay, plus B dot C plus B dot A. Plus this is C dot A plus C dot B. Okay, is equal to 0. So this is equal to 2 times A dot B plus B dot C plus C dot A is equal to 0. Dot product is commutative, right? A dot B is same as B dot A. C dot A is equal to 0. Okay, now I'm supposed to find what is modulus of A plus B plus C. Okay, mod of a plus b plus c the whole square is equal to mod a square plus mod b square plus mod c square plus 2 into a bracket. This is a dot b plus b dot c plus c dot a. Right, a dot b, b dot c, c dot a will be 0. Just now be proved. Right, mod a is 3, so this becomes 9. Mod b is 4, so this becomes 16. Mod c is 5, so this becomes 25. So this is 50. Mod of a plus b plus c the whole square, okay, is equal to 50. If I take square out, mod of a plus b plus c is equal to root of 50. Root of 50 can be written as 5 root 2. Alright guys. Okay, I told you vectors, 2 questions would be asked. Show that the points are collinear. Okay, now these are the position vectors. Position vector of A is equal to, don't prove that area of a triangle is 0. Prove that AB plus BC is equal to AC. That's according to NCERT textbook. It's a worked out example of NCERT. 2I plus 3J plus 5K. Okay, and position vector of B is equal to I plus 2J, I plus 2J plus 3K. And position vector of C is equal to 7I minus K. Okay, so I'll do it directly guys. AB will be equal to position vector of B minus position vector of A. So if you subtract, you will get 3I, okay, minus J minus 2K. This is OB minus OA. BC is equal to position vector of C minus position vector of B. So 7I minus I is equal to 6I, and then minus 2J because there is no J in C, position vector of C, and then minus K minus 3K, minus 3K will be equal to minus 4K, and AC is equal to position vector of C minus position vector of A. So C minus A will be equal to 9I minus 3J, 9I minus 3J minus K. Okay, modulus of AB is equal to root of, okay, modulus of AB is equal to root of 9 plus 1 plus 4. Okay, so that's equal to root of 14. Modulus of BC is equal to root of 36 plus 4 plus 16. Okay, I'm going to take 4 out. So this becomes 9 plus 1 plus 4. Okay, so that's equal to 2 root 14. So this will be 2 root 14. And then modulus of AC. Mod AC is equal to root of 81 plus 9 OC minus OA, right? So it should be 6 na. You do error, you will come to know because you're supposed to prove it. Minus K minus 5 is minus 6. Okay, now this is 9 plus 36. So I'm going to take 9 out. So you get this is 9 plus 1 plus 4. Okay, so that's equal to 3 root 14. So AB plus BC, AB plus BC, okay, is equal to AC. AB plus BC is equal to AC. Okay, therefore given points are collinear. Given points are collinear. This is okay, guys. Right, now let's move to the next question. Equation of a plane passing through intersection of two planes and the point 2, 2, 1. Okay, now equation of a plane passing through intersection of two planes. Passing through intersection of two planes. Okay, will be first plane, two planes is first plane plus lambda times the second plane equal to 0. First plane will be equal to 3x minus y plus 2z. Okay, minus 4. This will be the first plane plus lambda times the second plane. Second plane will be equal to x plus y plus z minus 2. Okay, is equal to 0. We call equation 1. Okay, now plane plane 1 passes through the point. Plane 1 passes through the point 2, 2, 1. You put x as 2, y as 2, z as 1. So this becomes 6 minus 2. Okay, plus 2 minus 4. Okay, plus lambda times. This will be equal to 2 plus 2 plus 1 minus 2. Okay, is equal to 0. I'm going to cancel this. You will get this as 2 plus, cancel this as well. 3 lambda equal to 0. So from this I can write 3 lambda is equal to minus 2. Lambda is equal to minus 2 upon 3. Okay, lambda is equal to minus 2 upon 3. If I substitute in plane 1, so this plane 1 becomes 3x minus y plus 2z minus 4. Okay, lambda is equal to minus 2 upon 3. Minus 2 upon 3, and then you get this as x plus y plus z minus 2 is equal to 0. X plus y plus z minus 2 is equal to 0. If you cross multiply or you multiply by 3, you get 9x minus 3y, okay, plus 6z minus 12 minus 2x minus 2y, okay, minus 2z plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, so from this I can write this as 7x minus 5y plus 4z, okay, minus 8 equal to 0. That's the equation of a plane. If you want to verify, guys, you take that point and substitute here and check. Pointers are 2 to 1, right? So you get 14 minus 10 plus 4 minus 8. So obviously 0, right? Okay, so this is a 3D question. Right, one more question, a 3 marker. It's a question on Bayes' theorem. A man speaks truth. Worked out example of NCERT. A man speaks truth 3 out of 4 times. He throws a die and reports that it's a 6. So that's an event which has happened. He throws a die and reports it's a 6. That's an event which has happened. What's the probability? It's actually a 6. Okay, so let E1 and E2 be the events. E1 is the event of getting a 6. Okay, and E2 is equal to event of getting a non-6. Right, now probability of E1 is equal to 1 upon 6, and probability of E2 will be equal to 5 by 6, non-6, right? 1 minus 1 by 6. E is equal to event that man reports that it's a 6. Okay, man reports that E is the event that man reports that it's a 6. It is a 6. Right, now probability of E given E1. Okay, now probability of E given E1 is equal to man reports it's a 6 and it is actually a 6. So he speaks true 3 out of 4 times. So probability is 3 by 4. Okay, probability of E given E2. Man reports that it's a 6 and it is not a 6. So if he speaks true 3 out of 4 times, lie is 1 out of 4 times. 1 minus 3 by 4 will be equal to 1 by 4. Okay, what's the probability? It's actually a 6. I'm supposed to find out what is probability of E1 given E. Probability of E1 given E is equal to P of E given E1 into P of E1, okay, upon total probability. that is P of E given E1, okay, into P of E1 plus P of E given E2, P of E given E2 into P of E2. Okay, so that's equal to probability of E given E1 is 3 upon 4. 3 upon 4. Probability of E1 is 1 by 6. Okay, again this is 3 upon 4 and then 1 by 6 plus E given E2. E given E2 is 1 upon 4 and probability of E2 will be 5 upon 6. So you take LCM 24, it will get cancelled. Okay, 3 upon 3 plus 5. Okay, answer is 3 by 8. Okay, so thanks for watching guys. Please do subscribe. Please do enable and enable that bell icon so that you get notifications for all my classes. Alright, and thanks for joining. Please do watch, like, and share my video, guys. This is part 2. Part 3 we will do the 5 markers of board exam. So we are done with all 3 markers, guys. Just go through it. Okay, watch the recording and do complete your notes. Alright, and let's continue in the next session. Thanks for joining me, guys. God bless you.